All right. Hello, everyone. So today is normally a Thursday live. I've always come on for the past several years live, but as I mentioned last week, I am on the East Coast really enjoying the colors of the fall seasons back there. If you've never been able to witness anything like that, if you're living anywhere else in the world, I highly recommend that you do a little search about the beautiful fall colors in the East Coast of the United States. It is incredible. So, and so just a little tidbit, I went to go make a reservation at a particular hotel, and let's say it was $200 a night on the day I was looking. But when I put in the date that I'm actually going to be there in early October, it went up to over $500 a night. I had to call them and ask them, like, what is the big difference? And they said, because they have a rush of people that come in from all over the United States, all over the world to see these beautiful, beautiful fall colors. So, yeah, I almost wore fall colors just in honor of that. But I am not live. I am going to be talking about blue plasma light codes today, and I'm going to be talking about, what are they, to maybe help us to understand a little bit more. Now, and if you're new to my channel, I just want to welcome you with a great big air hug and just say you are welcome here. If you found my channel, it is not by accident. Your spirit got you here, and hopefully you'll have an opportunity to take a look around and watch a few of the videos to see if it's a right fit for you or not. But I'm really excited that you're here. And for those who've been here for a long time, I'm glad that you are in this boat with me on this river ride of life, because as I always say, we're stronger together than apart. And the only other thing that I want to say is, I don't know about you. I mean, maybe for many of you listening in today, you're just like, this stuff is cool. But for me, I'm kind of a practical person by nature. So for those of you, it's like I have an Aquarian sun, a Capricorn moon, a Virgo ascending. So, yeah, I know Capricorn's an earth sign, but I'm a real airhead. I really like to think a lot, and things have to make sense. And a lot of times these blue plasmas and lights and star beings and galactic beings and light codes, they don't make practical sense. So I feel like I'm living, and I want to see if any of you can relate to this. I feel like this is what it felt to me, like I'm in this snow globe and this glass and this perfect world that I have built, or that I live in, that's as imperfect as heck, but it's still my world. And it's been feeling like the past few days, like it's starting to crack, like the water's starting to leak out, like this world that I've created is starting, like the glass ceiling's getting shattered. And it just feels like, like just this, like this expansion. And all this information is coming through. And as I feel it start to crack, it's like I'm feeling this release of pressure. So I don't know if you all are feeling that, but I just wanted to get that off my chest a little bit. So blue light codes. So I'm going to be talking about blue light codes today. Why? Because we are having such an enormous surge of blue plasma, blue light codes, this accelerated expansion, this activation of our DNA. It's definitely going to be happening. Big, huge waves of blue light that are bringing in this pure, pure, pure truth that comes from beyond the beyond, where it's like as this elixir of truth comes in, it's like you're incapable, I'm going to say you're incapable of cutting corners. You're incapable of compromising. It's almost like it's forcing us to live our most authentic truth of who we are. And however that's going to look, we're discovering it. We're finding languages to describe it. And that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling better. I like it. I like what I'm experiencing. But then there's that other part of me. It's like, but am I crazy? So I know a lot of you have been writing me and you're like, well, so-and-so's been writing about this and so, and so, and who's the one that I'm really kind of fell into yesterday? Jacques Vallée, who's French, and he's been writing about all of this stuff in the he's the one that coined the phrase multidimensional worlds. All right. So we are entering into our comfort level with being a multidimensional being. All right, let me jump into blue light codes. And I am going to be doing a meditation on blue light codes at the end. I'll be guiding you through it. So hang in there with me. All right. So again, I have all my notes. So you're going to look at light codes. You will look at light codes and be able to start seeing and sensing them very rapidly because the frequency is going up. So the light codes have been there. Let's say that the light codes are stuck to the window of your house and you raise the blind, you raise the veil, you raise the blinders that you've had on in life, and then suddenly you can already see them. No matter what symbolic language is spoken or written around the world, there have always been symbolic languages contained within the language that is similar to each other. So you can see petroglyphs, you can see, the carvings in stone with different runes, different images like in the Sumerian tablets, or the Egyptian hieroglyphics, or in the Chinese words, the caricatures in China and in Asia. You can have a character that means one word, and it doesn't mean like boat. It isn't like we have the word boat. Now, it could be a small boat or it could be a big boat, but it's a boat. But in Chinese caricatures, it can be much more poetic. There's much more depth. It's the same with hieroglyphics or other types of languages in the world, or even languages that no longer exist on the earth from the ancient times. The symbolic meaning, it's multidimensional. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not flat. It's not 2D. It's multidimensional. Now for us, let's say in English, in the I'm going to say American English, because we're not often as poetic. It can often sound much more direct or clipped in how we communicate. So let's say it's a small boat, and let's say it's a very tiny, small, insignificant sailboat with a torn sail floating in the water. So it's like a lot of words to describe one in-depth experience of a small boat. And so when I'm describing this as these light codes, it's like the whole story of the boat would be contained within one code. Like there'd be that third dimensional perception, the fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional, maybe are all up to 100 dimensions of this experience of this boat floating in the water and being carried by the currents. Is that clear as mud? It's kind of like that. Now, this is the way my mind works. And this is how my mind kind of wraps around it. So I'll share that with you, and I give you 100% full permission to go into the comment section and you define light codes in the way that it makes sense to you. And it's going to offer all of us an entirely different perspective. And I appreciate it 100%. And I'm very grateful. So no matter what symbolic language is spoken or written around the world, there are symbols contained within the language that often share similarities. So I was just looking up an image. So it looks like it's like 4 fingers, and then it has this line. So it's like this line, and then it's carved into stone, and then it's got this line. So to me, it looks like a broom in a way, be like a little broom. But then when I was looking at that, it was like you can find the same carved symbol in the southwest of the United States. You find it in South America, or, Peru. You'll find it carved in stone there. You'll see it carved in stone in Russia, Siberia. You see it in Bosnia, in Italy. You'll see it, in, of course, in Egypt, and you'll see it in Africa. So it's that same exact symbol. And these are like megalithic structures. These are ancient times, but they'll have the same exact symbol, but nobody really knows, if it really means the same thing in all of those languages. So kind of that's what light codes are. They can be similar and different. And this is what I want to make sure and not forget, because I'm going to write, of course, that's not working. Similar but different. Remember that. Similar but different. I have to remember to explain that, because it was explained to me and I was like, wow, that makes so much sense, but I feel like it shouldn't make any sense at all. All right. So I have done many talks on what I call the blue light hotspots, where I will often find ancient history about the blue light in all of these different countries. So you can find that on my website. I now, there are actually a lot of work. I meditate with them a lot, and I do a lot of research. So I'm now doing them about once a month. However, often wherever you are in any part of the world, you will find Egyptian hieroglyphics. Even when I was in Ireland and I was going to visit Newgrange, and the night before I visited Newgrange, I had this intense dream. I'm not a dreamer, so when they come through, I pay attention. And in the dream, it was Egyptians existed in Ireland. And so the next day, we were at a stone circle, and there was this anthropologist there. And he said, all right, he's giving his talk. Anybody have questions? I raised my hand, and I said, have there ever been Egyptians in the ancient history of Ireland? Have there ever been Egyptians that lived here? And he just kind of piped up, and he said, well, if you had asked me that even 4 years ago, I would have said no. But in the last 3 years, we have discovered that, yes, they did live here. And as a matter of fact, the Newgrange tomb, we always thought was a young man around the age of 12 to 14 years old. We have now discovered it was a young girl. So it was a burial tomb of a young girl, and she's dressed in Egyptian clothing and Egyptian beads. And so it's just a testament to what we know, even with light codes, as far out there as it seems. 1,000 years from now, our ancestors are just going to, light codes will just be a daily part of your reality. But we're going to look back and laugh and say, do you remember our ancestors didn't even believe in light codes? That's kind of how I feel my ancestors are going to be laughing at me. So when I visited China, they talked about Egyptians. They've talked about Egyptians in the Grand Canyon in Arizona. I was just in Utah and at the conference Phenomenon, and so many people were, well, all right, a total of 3, but they talked about Egyptians living in that area thousands and thousands of years ago. And when I talked to them and I'm like, well, how do you know this? And is this a theory? And they just looked at me like, no, we know for a fact. It's documented. And it's like, why isn't anybody talking about this? But you had these hieroglyphics, and you can see in some of their petroglyphs painted on the cliff walls, you can see exact same symbolic language that you can find in Egypt. So I thought that was quite fascinating. Yeah, there was a man, what was his name? Kent Smith, absolutely adorable, much older now. He's a treasure hunter, and he said he started treasure hunting when he was 6 years old when he found a golden coin in Utah with rubies in it. And so now he's older and uses a walker, but oh my gosh, I could listen to him for days. And he said, oh, where are you staying? And I told him where our Airbnb was. And he said, oh, that's where the Egyptians lived. I'm like, okay, what's the reality of that, of that happening, that I would be in an Airbnb where the Egyptians lived in Utah? So, and then it was said at the same time, we had William Henry, who's on Ancient Aliens. He's an art historian, and he was showing all the symbolic images of the paintings from the 14th century, where they were showing a lot of similar symbolic language from Christianity as there is from the Egyptian beliefs, Sumerian beliefs. Like, he was able to really connect a lot of the symbolic language. So there are stories. I already talked about the Grand Canyon, about Egyptian artifacts. I actually did do a deep dive on this, and the material that I read said it was all a hoax. And that was several years ago. However, I'm learning so much now where it was debunked as a hoax, when in actuality, it's probably highly true. So there is this talk about the light codes are a proper language of a highly sophisticated writing system. So, and the god Thoth, so it's Thoth, the god Thoth gave language to the earth. So it is said that the god Thoth, or this high supreme galactic star being that came by the name of Thoth, who's known in Egyptian culture as having the ibis head, or the, I can't remember what other kind of head, but we'll just say the ibis head is the god of scholarly knowledge. And so it is said that Thoth came to earth to bring the light language to earth, the language of light. And so where did they come from? Well, the celestial galactic light codes have always been present on earth according to the blue beings of light. And it's only now that we are beginning to communicate with them on our own. Now, they've always been here, but we went through this 5,000 year period of time, which we call the, the Dark Ages. So we are on the threshold doorway now, where we're moving back into the Golden Ages. And it is kind of this 26,000 year cycle, which you can look up anywhere, watching a YouTube. You can learn more about that 26,000 year cycle. So we're coming out of these Dark Ages. Well, when we're in that lower frequency, oh man, my ears are ringing. When we're in that lower frequency, it's hard to see light, right? It's like those light codes can come down, but it's got to filter through some of that darkness that we were all living in, and that we came through the other side of it. We're starting to come back to the light. Now we're able to start witnessing the light codes. So they're not new. They're carriers of high levels of knowledge that radiate a purity of light. That's why they're called a light code. They radiate a purity of light. And we are getting to a phase where you can get your own light codes. You can interpret what the light codes mean for you, and be able to allow those light codes to activate the DNA, your genetic codes, maybe even your star seed codes, to be able to easily and effortlessly interpret them. So why are they being mentioned now? Well, exactly what I said, that we're able to start to sense them again. It's like we're coming out into the light again, And as we come into the light, imagine that we haven't seen a mountain for a long time, or we haven't seen a tree for a long time, or we haven't seen the sun, we haven't seen flowers for a long time. We're coming out of that darkness. We're starting to see them. They've always been there. It's just that it's been a while since we've come into the light to be able to bring them in. And so then it was explained to me by Spirit, they're like sugar carbs. So I'm a nurse, so let me just throw in my little nursey side here for a second. So when you eat carbs, so carbs provide energy. So a simple carb means a fast burst of energy. So eating a candy bar or eating sugar, any kind of like ice cream, chocolate cake, anything like that, it's just going to give you a really quick burst. And that's why when someone's a diabetic and their blood sugar's too low, they give them liquid glucose, liquid sugar under the tongue to instantly get that blood sugar up. All right. So sugar carbs must go inside the cell to bring the cell's energy to awaken it. And the brain really needs that sugar to be awakened. But the cell, it needs a key. It needs a key to unlock the cell so that the energy can come in. So even if it's a complex carb like lettuce or celery, things that are digested slower but give you energy, it still needs to be able to get into the cell, and it needs a key. It needs a little key to get in there and unlock that cell to let the energy come in so that the cell has energy, so you have a lot of energy. Well, this is the thing. The key is insulin. So you need insulin to unlock it. All right. Now, light codes are very similar. The light codes have this high frequency ability to bring energy and uplift and expand and enlighten and bring through this purity of consciousness at a higher level so that we can ease into this great time of awakening. But it needs a key. And that key is the light code. And so the light codes come in and they help to kind of just gently unlock you in a way that you can better understand. And you're going to hear me say this a lot over the next few weeks, few months, few years, as you're going to look at your neighbor that you never talked to, and now you want to say, hey, you want to come over for coffee, or you're going to go to work and the coworker in the cubicle next to you always annoyed you, but now all of a sudden they don't annoy you anymore. It's like, or your kids, like you don't know how to engage maybe with one of your challenged kids and their behaviors, but now all of a sudden it's like, oh, I see what's going on with Frankie. Oh, I see as a parent how I'm going to be able to better parent Frankie. So there's a lot of, these kind of practical, really cool things that are going to happen for us at the human level. However, those other things that are going to happen with these light codes, you're already a multidimensional being. But let's say you're a limited multidimensional being. I'm a limited multidimensional being. I can't totally say that because I've been cultivating a long time, but as I said in my last video, I feel like I'm in the snow globe that's breaking, and it lets me know that, yeah, I'm still limited in some ways. So in your limited way, but now these light codes come in, and now suddenly you're not only able to maybe experience life through the third, fourth, maybe even fifth dimensional world, but maybe you're able to experience it from 12 dimensions. And what does that mean? Oh, my Archangel Michael is standing next to me. It's like you're going to be able to say, oh, Sophia just walked into my kitchen, or you're going to be able to see guides or angels, or maybe you're going to be able to see elves and fairies or dragons, how about, and star beings, of course. I've started seeing the moon, not just the front of the moon, but I've been able to see the moon like the front, the back. I can see the sides as if I'm seeing a globe from all sides of it. This is what we're talking about. Now, for me, I have the type of clairvoyance where I can look out at all of you who's watching this video and I can see you. I can see the ones paying attention. I can see some of you down, you're making notes. I can see some of you sitting there going, huh. I can see some of you going, yeah, I don't know about this. I think I'm going to turn this video off. Like, I can see all of that, which requires me to have a thick skin, by the way. And I can see many of you sitting out there that haven't found the videos yet, but you're about ready to find the videos about light codes. So all of that activity is going. I can see that you're all going to be able to start seeing that way, but it might still take 10, 20, 30 years. So just to let you know, but for some of you, you're already seeing that way and you thought something was wrong. And now Nancy's saying, you can see that way. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I guess I can see that way. Like, you don't know you can roller skate till someone says, put on the skates and let's go roller skating. And then you can do it easily. All right. So light codes unlock, block, or stuck energy that was previously unavailable to you until now. Light codes unlock and activate DNA, just like it unlocks and activates your cells to be able to take in more light to do what? Make it easier for you to create a light body. We're going to learn a lot more about light codes, but right now, why don't we go ahead and just do we're going to do a mini meditation now on light codes. And I'm going to present it in such a guided way that maybe you'll have a little bit of an experience with the light codes, the subtle touches, the subtle activating sensory perceptions of light codes. And you always have free will at any time to decide not to experience light codes. But let's go ahead and get started. So go ahead and close your eyes and turn within. And for those of you who've been with me for a while, I always recommend you talk to your body. Say hello to your body. Let your body know what you're going to be doing. It's like, all right, we're going to have a little experience with light codes that might activate a greater level of light within our system. And then say hello to your higher soul self, that part of you that thinks you're absolutely adorable, thinks you're the most adorable soul on the face of the planet. So I hope that you can feel that. But ask your higher soul self to help you to have an imaginary experience with light codes, but to also enhance your intuition so that maybe you can sense the gentle shifts, subtle shifts and frequencies of the light codes coming in. There you go. You're starting to settle now. So now you want to ground first. And grounding is an imaginary, invisible light force of stabilizing energy. So use your imagination. It can be a tree with roots. It could be moss. It could be a stone. It could be a mountain. I think I said tree. It could be stars. It could be crystals. It could be a family of monkeys. It could be angels to help you with your grounding. But whatever that is for you, go ahead and imagine it connecting at the area around your hips. It's going to go through the room where you are sitting. It's going to go through the earth's crust, and allow that image to just sit softly around the outside of your body, in your aura, and then allow gravity to pull that image easily and effortlessly, connecting you to the center of the earth. Light codes are high frequencies of knowledge and wisdom, information. When you're being downloaded with light codes, which you are much of the time during this time of change on the earth, you want to really stabilize your physical body, your emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. So right now, set your intention to release out of your body and your human energy field any instability that is not in alignment with the high frequency light codes. So anything that would block me from the light, block me from my light, I'm just going to dump it all down my grounding. Sometimes it can be like pulling the plug out of a bathtub and all the water drains out. Sometimes it's like the sun comes out and melts away the snow. Just remind yourself of what today's date is, and remind yourself of your current age, and just allow it to drain. Anything blocking the light of the light codes is going to drain and release right down your grounding to be recycled by Mother Earth. Again, mention today's date and your current age, present time, present age. Now remember when Albert Einstein said something about energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it simply changes form. So as these light codes come in, that's the same experience you can have. So just ask and intend that so that you can have an experience with light codes. Ask that only the light codes that are in alignment with you, with your personality, with your body type, your blood type, your DNA type, your how you think type, your personality. All your life experiences. So you're going to call in and set that intention that the light codes that are the most appropriate for you are going to come into the room where you are, and then just allow it to just saturate the room, allow it to saturate if you're sitting outdoors in your car, maybe you're in the conference room at work, and allow it to just flow into the room. And then just to start flowing through the top of your aura and then the top of your physical skull, your head. These are very high frequencies that easily and effortlessly can float through your human energy field and your human body. Have you ever stuck out your tongue when it's snowing and a snowflake touches your tongue and melts? It's very similar to that. It's just going to touch every part of you. It's going to be activating your ability to take in higher knowledge, higher wisdom. Really allow it to soak into your nervous system, to include your brain and spinal cord. And then allow the light codes to just swirl around and go wherever they wish to go in your body to help enhance your ability to easily and effortlessly take in higher frequencies of celestial knowledge. Sense what you sense. Experience what you experience. Remember, it can be quite subtle and slight, like an eyelash on your cheek that has just fallen on your cheek. And for others who are very sensitive, you may experience it with a little more awareness. Just feel it into your neck, and your shoulders are starting to drop a little bit and relax. Allow it to flow through your skin, your front, your back, all the organs, your bones, your lungs, your heart, down into your intestines, down your arms, legs, hips, and allow the light codes to continue to flow right down into Mother Earth. Remember, light codes unlock blocked and stuck energy that was previously unavailable to you before now. And it activates your genetic DNA strings where you would have had dormant areas asleep, just waiting to be awakened, kind of like Sleeping Beauty. Using your intuitive senses, can you get a sense of what may be being communicated to you through these light codes? Is your feeling, seeing, hearing, knowing being enhanced? Beautiful. Whenever you're ready, you can thank your body, you can thank your spirit. Have a great appreciation for the light codes. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Look around the room and see if you can sense any difference in the room around you. And I would love to hear if you had an experience. I would love to read it in the comments section. What did you experience, if anything? And saying that you had no experience at all, that you felt nothing at all, is an experience as well. It gives you a baseline to work with. So remember, we have an event that is coming up, a Blue Awakening event. So the link is here in the narrative section below. There is also the Blue Light Meditation of Truth that's coming through, and our intuitive style questionnaire. So blue light codes, we don't understand them 100%, but I think we are getting just a little bit closer, don't you? So thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you on the next teaching video of my page. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.